Yesterday,
McCartney.
all my troubles seem so far away. Man on the run,
The man.
man on the run. You ain't got no value.
The mystery.
Do you think you're hot? No value. I'm not such a
The music.
bad boy no more, no more, no more, no more, no more.
The movie.
Nights never be another. No
Paul McCartney.
lonely night.
Give my regards to Broad Street.
You're my guiding light, day or night alone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 142 of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. As you all know, we are a Paul McCartney talk show mainly dealing with the solo career of Paul McCartney. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Tom Hunyadi. You may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles video cast. And as always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, my backwards traveler, Andy Nichols. Andy, what is going on, buddy?
Sleeves up and rolled up, ready to defend Broad Street, baby. I will. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. I see it. I see you. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. Okay. As you can see, we've got a guest with us, and I'm really excited to have this gentleman here with us today because he has been a long time listener, fan. He was one of the first people to acknowledge the show when David, my ex-co-host, he used to post the link to the show on the McCartney forum way back in 16 and 17, and that's where we first met Ed and Ed Crawford, that is, and been friends ever since. And Ed also has his own YouTube channel that we're going to be talking about in a second. But Ed, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, it's good to be on. Just thank you guys. I'm honored to be here, and yeah, let's defend Broad Street.
Finally, and I have an ally now, so this is great. We can we have the Broad Street czar. We have the Broad Street czar of all Broad Street media. We got him.
Right.
We got him.
There you go.
I can start showing.
Yeah. I got the. There you go. What was that? The long box?
That's the sealed long box. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the seal.
Beauty.
Oh, wow.
Beauty. That's a beauty. Wow.
Yeah.
Not one, but two sealed albums. But I can bring those into frame later. But yeah, we can.
Man.
That's my channel. Call me Mr. Broad Street. And again, just thank you guys for having me on. And
Yeah.
The question is MPL going to contact you when they got to put the box together? Because they really should. They really should.
I would do it for free.
Oh, come on. You got to get a few pounds out of them there.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit, enough to cover. But
Anyways, so we're going to be talking about the film Give My Regards to Broad Street. Andy and Ned, they're going to be defending the film. I'm going to kind of be standing back asking questions, kind of like skeptic of the bunch here, and they're going to convince us or me and others. Look at that, the VHS,
Yep.
and why you should give the film another chance, or geez, oh Pete, that's got it.
That's the second VHS run,
Yes,
right?
that's the 1996, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I remember seeing that for $5 at the video store.
No, it's. I'm glad that we chose this topic, partner. I know that back in the day with David, you guys actually reviewed it and actually watched it and listened to it, and that was on one of the first Two Legs episodes I ever listened to, which I really dug.
Right. Well, we didn't really actually review it. We more or less just did a commentary of the film. We just talked about making of it, what was going on. some of the actors and
Kind of what
whatnot.
we did with the Bruce McMouse show,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Before we get to that, I just want to mention one thing that just came out. I should have grabbed it a second ago, but this is brand new book, Paul McCartney, behind the song.
Oh,
Or,
that's
yeah,
right.
behind the
Yes.
yeah, the stories behind the songs. Sorry, this is by Mike Evans. Just came out last month.
That
I
looks
ordered
like a
it.
good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see, how these stories are going to mesh with the McCartney lyrics book. See how the stories, if any of the songs are the same from the McCartney lyric book. I'm sure there will be. See them compare, and also, kind of weird because the McCartney legacy book got delayed with Cozen and Paul Sinclair that are working on, and they talked about how it was because of the lyrics book. But surprised that how this one got through. Then why they released this, but not the McCartney legacy.
How in depth is it, Tom?
Well, I mean, it goes through his whole career, 70 to 2020, with the release of McCartney 3. You're only talking like maybe 1 to 2 tracks per album. Some of the non-album singles he'll talk about in here. Just talk about the stories behind the songs, and haven't had a chance to dig into it yet, but looking forward to getting into it. And speaking of Broad Street 2, one of the items that I just picked up recently was the picture disc.
Oh, yeah.
There you
Yeah.
I got mine somewhere around here.
No More Lonely Nights picture disc. Yeah, so
think
but I love
might
this
have
back
that.
cover with the Silly Love Songs, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that remake of Silly Love Songs, but
No.
I might have to do a quick search here. Let's see. We've got a couple more items now that we're comparing. This I got from Paul Sally.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
cool. He did
The
that.
records that he does, so we'll call out to him.
Yep.
Nice
very
job
good.
there.
It's still kind of sealed, well bagged up, but the press
Okay.
kit.
Oh,
You got the press kit, really?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
What about the book here? Yeah, there we go.
Yep, I have that one. Hold on, I've got all my stuff kind of scattered about a little bit. I
£2,
apologize.
£2, 98 quid.
Let's see. All right, well. and
You have this.
there's-
Don't you have a script too? I was gonna say you got the
I
script.
have a script. Andy, you read my mind. Yep.
Oh
right
wow.
here.
Now,
It's
where
a
did-
little thin on the words in the script, though, right?
just a bit.
There's actually some words in here, but
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's
Book
great.
is cool though.
Yeah. Well, okay. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, Ed, you just started your own YouTube channel. You said it was called "Call Me Mr. Broadstreet."
Yep.
Talk about putting that together. What was why did you feel the need to do that, and what's it all about?
Sure. Well, call me Mr. Broadstreet. I just started that as July 1st of this year. Really kind of inspired, basically by what you guys do, what Talk More Talk does. Just seeing all sorts of people, doing their podcasts. I think Take It Away podcast as well kind of inspired me a little bit. Just going through what I basically review is I do solo Beatles reviews, not just Paul, but concentrating on the solo years,
Right.
kind of going into the group years a little bit. I've done a couple of off the Beatle path reviews that I like to do of other stuff from my collection, so kind of connecting it all together. But yeah, I really I enjoy it. I just enjoy kind of
Yeah.
adding my voice to everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
is.
fun doing it. Especially the showing off, of the product that you just got. It's really
Yep.
cool. I love seeing what everybody's getting, and like, do I have it? And do I know it? No, I need to get one. It's I almost found another one of these guys right here. And I'll show you right here.
Oh, you.
Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
almost found another one, and I was, debating on whether or not to, to pick it up. And
if you want to mail it, I can. Give
yeah,
you
I was gonna say I'd put you guys in the ring and see you guys fight over it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh.
but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, are you more solo? Are you more Beatles, or both? Does it matter? I mean,
Well,
do you concentrate more on the solo years?
I mean, kind of right now, the solo years. I mean, really, I think the solo years are a lot more interesting to me. Just because the Beatles years, they do get a lot of coverage, a lot of press, probably for the more casual fan. Just really the solo years, I just enjoy it. I enjoy it. I think it's very underrated in the general public, and I really, that's where I really get a lot of joy from. Just
Gotcha.
Because there's so much to cover.
Right.
That's the beauty of it.
Well, yeah,
Four,
what,
four
50
people,
years?
50 years for two people, to cover
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the 10 years with John. You got another 30 with
30 with George.
George. And like you said, 50 with Paul and Ringo. So yeah, just so much
Lot
there.
of- It's a lot to cover.
And obviously with Paul, you got so many different, genres of music and all the other, stuff that he's put out, whether it's the Fireman or Twin Freaks or classical, it's just on and on and on. So anyways,
Well, exactly. I mean, it's just getting to it all. I mean, since I've started relatively late compared to a lot of other people, just kind of going through bit by bit. Let's see. I wanted to show you just another quick piece. So if you guys really want to put some tapes on, we've got the broadcast
man.
tapes. We've got the tapes.
wow.
Can you hold that up again, Ed?
Yeah,
Close.
hold on. Let me.
A little higher.
There we go.
20th Century Fox.
Broadcast date of 1987, February 3rd, 1987. To be exact.
Oh wow.
Got that off of eBay, but yeah.
Wow. Is it what kind of tape is it?
It's basically a broadcast tape. So hold on.
Is it VHS or is it more like a Betamax?
No, not a Betamax. This is.
Oh, so it's an actual cart. Okay.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool little item that I picked up. But
Yeah.
No kidding. So let's jump into the film here. I mean, when did you discover it? I mean, you were obviously probably a fan of Paul by the time you discovered that film, and what were your initial thoughts when you first saw the film?
Yeah, no, good question. This is kind of how I remember it, funny enough. So about 9 years old when the film came out, I didn't get to see it in the theaters. So I remember. Now, for some reason, I don't know, my dad would probably watch this later and go, I don't remember that, but it was basically a VHS tape that he had. I think he may have borrowed it from somebody or something like that. And it was watching it probably around, let's say, 1985, so probably the summer after the film came out, watching little bits and pieces of it. And then I think what really got me back into Broad Street, so to speak, was by way of the Paul McCartney Flowers on the Dirt tour. Well, I think after seeing him live in concert, I was about 14 when I got to see that as my first rock concert.
Awesome.
That's what really drove me into my fanaticism.
But why Broad Street? Why Broad Street in particular after the Flowers tour?
I think it just kind of lodged back in my mind after the Flowers tour, and it really, I'm just trying to think. It just really, I don't know. It really spoke to me. I guess for lack of a better word, but yeah.
Okay. Then when was the first? And you remember the first time you saw the whole thing on VHS, or what was the first time you did watch the whole thing?
Let's see, probably the 1996 VHS. Now I remember on MTV. I remember they would run the video quite a lot, so I know that must have stuck in my mind.
Right.
There was the giveaway for the car, the giveaway for the that car, which I would love to have if I knew how to.
Oh yeah.
Right. That would be fantastic. Yeah, exactly. I know it has all the gadgets inside. Probably not.
Oh man, yeah.
Right.
You will then get a short break.
That's what today's kind of felt like. Yeah.
Yes.
but yeah, no, it's so kind of. I mean, this was the copy right here.
Right.
Before. So it probably would have been early 90s. I can't give you an exact date on that, but if it was, if 1990 was the concert, I'd probably want to say around 1991, give or take.
Okay.
So when I was really just delving into everything, Beatles related, solo Beatles, anything I could get my hands on.
So then, when did you start collecting Broad Street memorabilia or product?
Over the years, I would probably give a date of about 95 or 96 when I really started to collect my first bits of Broad Street memorabilia. There was a place kind of close to where I live. Well, not super close to where I lived at the time, but I picked up one of my singles here, which I'd have to go dive and get it, but I don't think I'm going to do that right now. But yeah, it was so just kind of slowly but surely collecting that. eBay has been big, I think, especially recently. Some of the stuff I've gotten, the songbook right here. So,
Right. Okay.
the lyrics to anything, but yeah. So that's kind of really helped with my with my obsession.
Where's the big blue box? Do you have that?
Yeah. We're hoping for at least for the 50th anniversary. Maybe we'll get the big blue box.
Come on, give me let's get the blue box.
Yes.
Put that right up on the shelf.
Right.
I would agree. I mean, a nice big blue collector's box, like the suitcase. Like the suitcase.
Yes, right.
Just like the suitcase.
Right up there. Right up there.
Exactly. Right. Growing if it can. That would be kind of cool. Limited
Oh,
edition
that would be awesome too.
suitcase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what else you got over there to show then? I mean, did you show everything that you got there?
Hold on, I have to go off a frame here for a second.
Yeah. No, this is great. I love to see this stuff.
Let's see. No more.
Is that a poster? Oh, sheet music.
Okay.
Sheet music for the song itself.
Right.
What else we got?
Is that what pressing is that? Is that sealed?
Sealed. It's a sealed CBS Records pressing. It's got the hype sticker.
Okay.
I couldn't have just one. I had to have two of them.
Features the new singles. He telling me you wouldn't like that hype sticker, you cheapskate? Come on, you keep that thing on there. I know you would.
If I had two copies, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's oh god, what else do I have here? I've got this is right here, one of my more interesting items.
Oh, what is that?
What is
This
that?
what I got, it was funny enough with this, it was only one copy of this available. It's basically a movie insert, so I don't know if the camera's really going to pick it up or do it justice, but for instance, you got 2 1/4 column width, 1 1/2 column width, 1 3/4 column width. These would be placed in newspapers, so newspaper adverts, you kind of see them way back in the day.
Okay.
When they were advertising the film. Well, this is a cool little piece of memorabilia. There was only this one copy. I wish I could have picked up a second one. Let's see what else we got here. I've got the Laserdisc.
Nice.
Laserdisc player. But
Right.
I've got the Laserdisc.
Oh, wow.
Well, you would have had to flip it over a couple. Is that 2 disc or 1? Does it say 2 laser discs?
Hold on a second. That's really interesting. I never.
And you said you had a Laserdisc player?
No. That's just it. I don't have a Laserdisc player.
I don't know anybody who does anymore. I don't even think they make them.
No, but you can buy them. Like I could get one at Zia if I wanted to.
Do they have them there, Tom?
Yeah, they have them used. Yeah.
Oh, nice. There's the one again. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things, Ed, maybe you can answer this question I've always had. How come when it was issued on DVD, we got this crappy artwork, and not like what the real cover of the film is? Why?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I look at that and I look at, for instance, the VHS cover. Something like that would have been fantastic.
Right.
I don't know why they threw this half-ass cover on the DVD. I really don't.
That's kind of one of the mysteries to me as well. I mean, it's you've got that. You've got now. Does yours have like a little insert in the inside of it? There's like a little
little scene selection thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then on the other side, it's got the picture of Paul and Ringo. I think either Ringo or Paul is pointing.
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Yeah, from the
dream.
Rigby
I just
sequence.
I don't know. It looks like to me, it just like a very cheaply produced 20th Century Fox. No quality.
It was
control.
cheaply produced because I mean it was it flopped. Okay, let's be honest. I mean they're going to put it out. It's a budget release, really. I mean they're not going to put I'm sure they didn't do any kind of mastering or anything to fix the color or anything like that to the film. So
Right.
they just dropped it and they just did a transfer probably from a VHS, I don't know, and then put it out on DVD.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to be a big exuberant, release.
No, I'm just trying to think when did the DVD first come out, Ed? I want to say early mid 2000s.
April 2004, I believe.
Early
I
2000s.
had the month down. I was joking with somebody at my workplace at the time, kind of doing a joking countdown. Well, counter, but knowing me, but I'm like, oh yeah, only
Right.
X number of weeks till the DVD comes out. You know,
So,
you got it.
but okay. So back then in 2004, how did you know about the release?
I probably would have heard it on one of the McCartney sites. I would guess Harold Gernhardt's McCartney site.
Oh yeah, that was a good site.
It could have been his. It could have been his site from way back when. I don't know if he's still.
That was a great site. That was a great site.
Yeah, that really had a lot of good information on it, especially around the Flaming Pie era. I know getting a little
yes,
bit tough, but,
yes,
it was probably off of that site from what I remember, and I said, okay, well, keep that in the back of my head. To have that.
Is there? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is there anything that you know exists out there? I mean, besides the car, you talked about the car. I mean, is there anything else out there that you're looking to collect from the film?
Well, not exactly from the film, but related to the film. I've never even opened this up.
Oh, is that the jacket?
That's the jacket.
Yeah, take it to the left a little bit.
All right. To my left.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. I'm just going to.
No, the other left. The other way. Yeah, there you go. So that's a jacket. Broad Street jacket.
That's a jacket. I mean, from the film itself. Oh, besides the
and you have no interest in opening that up right now.
Not right now. I'm going to eventually. Funny enough, eventually.
You should do a video on that.
Like promo photo or something like that. I may actually wear the jacket, but that may be down the road a little bit as I'm building things up. From the film, I'm just trying to think. I mean, something from the Broad Street station, I think would be kind of cool to have. Okay. A sign from it. I know it was demolished sometime in summer of 1986. I think is when they demolished the Broad Street station itself, if I'm remembering correctly. Gotcha. So yeah, it was. That would be kind of cool to have, in my opinion. Something autographed.
Did you find the jacket? Did you find the jacket on eBay?
Yeah, it was on eBay. This is an eBay find right here.
Okay. Do you think there's more of those?
Look at Tom. Look how jealous he is. Oh my God.
Well, there's you know what?
Guy.
This was the Tracks site. So the Tracks Limited site that I got it off of. Now supposedly they have a similar jacket, supposedly worn by Jeff Emmerich. What they're advertising. Okay. So English pounds to US. I forget how much the price would be right now that I paid, but yeah, it's a couple bucks.
Okay,
it's not super expensive, but I mean, yeah, definitely.
It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't super expensive.
Right, exactly. It didn't exactly break the bank as it was.
More than the suitcase, or less than the suitcase?
more than the Uber box.
Let me think for a second. 100 pounds to US dollars.
Probably about $160.
It's something like that.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. So no, the suitcase is definitely much more expensive than the.
I'd snatch that up right now. Shit.
Of course you would. He's going on eBay right now, folks, off camera. He is.
You guys go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
Of course he is.
What you got? Oh, the club sandwich. Okay.
And the follow-up issue number 34, 35. I got issue number 36 somewhere around here. I've got all my stuff. It's all kind of strewn about, like right in front of me, so I'm just kind of grabbing things a bit at random.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Well, let's. Anything else, Andy, before we get to the film?
No, I think we're ready. I mean, we can jump into it. Earl, I gotta say, just so busy during the early '80s. Tug of War. He starts shooting the movie. Pipes of Peace. I mean, the movie gets started. The movie still goes back to '82 of filming, right?
Yep.
And really, it has an October of '84 release. So, and then in between all that, you've got Pipes of Peace and everything else. So, pretty prolific period. And then squeeze a film into the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's why a lot of people criticize it. I don't, and I'm not gonna, and I will defend it. I mean, listen, I have felt if anybody wants to make a film like that, he can. Okay, Paul McCartney is not going to confuse anybody with Francis Ford Coppola. Okay, he's a musician. No. Okay, and just like Elvis has made tons of movies that were crap too, but nobody shits on them, right? Oh, Elvis, aloha, blah, blah, blah. Right. Paul makes one film that everybody likes to just crap on, and I'm freaking tired of it. I'm freaking tired of it. I mean, nobody ever watched this saying, "Oh my God, it's going to win Academy Award." Okay, it's not. It doesn't need to be. It's
Right.
just it's a guy who's a musician who
Well,
wants to take.
let's go with there because I was watching the South Bank show earlier today,
Yep.
from what was it, '84 or whatnot,
Yes.
and he was talking
Melvin
about,
Bragg.
yeah, he was talking about starting it off. He was talking about how he was just in a traffic jam and just started writing stuff down. And let's just talk about the story in general, okay? I
Okay.
mean, I mean, Andy, you can start if you want to. Just talk about the story in general. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean,
Listen, it's not a great story. Okay, tapes go missing. Big bad, a kind of reminiscence of Alan Klein. Big bad record company guy is going to take my company away.
Right.
He's going to take my contract away, which is like Alan Klein, right? Basically, part 2.0. I mean, is the story a little bit weak? Yeah, it is. But so what? It's Paul McCartney. Okay, the film excels because of the music in the film. Okay. Not the story. The story suits who Paul McCartney is. He's not Paul McCartney playing somebody else. He's playing himself. Ringo's in it. George Martin's in it. Jeff Emery. He is who he is. Okay, so the story is what the story is. It's a dream. So what? I don't listen. I know. I recognize that it's weak. Okay, it's not. But it's Paul McCartney. So it's okay. It's allowed to be weak. Is my point.
right.
It can
Gotcha.
be.
Right. Okay, Ed.
Yeah, well, I think Andy, well said. Wow, how do I follow that up? Well, I think it's definitely a lot stronger than people give it credit for. I mean, I think the camaraderie in the film certainly comes across. Especially between Paul and Ringo, Paul and George Martin. I mean, let's not forget the fact that and it's the camaraderie is one thing. I think the warehouse sequence, the jamming warehouse sequence,
Right.
probably one of my favorite bits of film that McCartney has ever done. I think that sequence, my favorite sequence in the entire film. They're just jamming out in a warehouse, practicing to be Canadians.
Yes.
It's that's definitely one of the favorite parts.
John Hamill sitting there rolling up a joint.
Yeah. Oh, I caught that one in more recent years. Yeah, it's as a kid I probably didn't quite put the two together, but kind of just slyly rolling one up and walking away as the two detectives are coming on by.
Yeah.
Got to dig the retro computers in that.
Oh
as well.
yes.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to kind of be a little like Magical Mystery Tour in a way where, I mean, it got shit on for so many years, Magical Mystery Tour, but then people, some say like Steven Spielberg, no, I won't, that's what's bullshit.
It is.
That comment that Paul made it during the anthology of Magical Mystery Tour. But anyways, I do, and I am curious of whether or not people will, find this film again and reevaluate it and consider it kind of like a Magical Mystery Tour. Well, yeah, the story is weak, but the music, like you said, Andy, is really what the highlight is of the film.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
I think they probably will. I mean, look, there's no. I mean, it seems like every 5 minutes there's another musical scene, right? Because that's what it is. I mean, whether it's he's in a recording studio, he's in a film studio, he's in a radio studio, so there's he's in the warehouse, like Ed said, the warehouse scene, so it was never going to be like you said, Tom. It was never going to be like when Ed held up the script. How many words are in that thing? It's not too many,
Right.
not too many,
Right.
But I even think I think even like the supporting actors are very good in the film. Brian Brown as the manager he comes off very well, I think.
Right?
Yeah,
True. Okay. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just gonna say a funny little comment. Yeah, even seeing him in other films, it's I mean, certainly I can think of another film, Cocktail with Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
you go.
he started that
Right.
one a couple years later, and I mean, compare that to Broad Street, again, kind of lightweight. In some ways, but Brian Brown definitely comes across great. Ralph Richardson, I think his role in the film, it's very much, when I view that particular scene, him and Paul are kind of talking, it's the conversation that Paul never really got to have with his own father. At that particular point in time.
Right.
So I think that's a very touching scene in and of itself.
Right. Yeah,
Absolutely.
You get
Tracy
Tracy
Ullman,
Ullman,
Tracy Ullman.
Barbara Bach, obviously Linda, and all the musicians that we'll get to in a few minutes. So let me guys ask you this then. We're talking about music now. To redo the Beatles stuff or not to redo the Beatles stuff? Fan, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys enjoy the fact that he went back and redid the Beatles stuff?
Yeah, and he must have been in a little bit of a Revolver mode because he did 3 songs from Revolver on here.
Right.
You know,
That's true.
with
For No One.
Eleanor Rigby, and Here, There, and Everywhere. So
Right.
Good Day Sunshine.
and
Good Day
Good
Sunshine's in
Sunshine.
there as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
think so.
I love the Beatles revisits.
Okay.
Yeah, I think especially now for me, this is going to be kind of controversial for some folks. I consider this an essential album. To be honest,
Absolutely.
essential album in Paul's career. It finds him at a point.
Absolutely.
It's the last kind of classic sounding McCartney album, I think. I think we definitely get more of a modern sound from Paul, starting with Spies Like Us going forward. I think
Interesting.
long and winding road. Now, I know people criticize the saxophone.
Sour.
I think
Sore spot. Sore spot.
You may have said, it's like, oh, the saxophone part. I think the way he sings the lyric, though, the kind of a longing in it that
Right.
isn't even in the original version, which kind of connects with me on a personal level.
Right. No, I still think he's in great voice in this era. I think this might be one of his strongest periods in his vocal career. Especially with songs like No More Lonely Nights. He just sings that song. Yeah, it's beautifully. As well as songs on Tug of War and Pipes of Peace. So I still think that he's in fine voice. I just not the biggest fan of the arrangement, for that. But I know it has its fans for sure.
Yeah.
No More Lonely Nights. Oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean
No,
that.
go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, No More Lonely Nights. One of the top 10 songs of Paul's entire career, and I'm including Beatles with that.
Well,
Win.
Just
right.
yes.
I'm looking through. If anybody's out there, anybody's seen any footage of Gilmour playing guitar I don't know if anything was filmed while he did that solo, for that song. I would love to see it. I don't think there's any kind of like picture or video of David in the studio with Paul. If
Not on that song.
yeah,
Plenty
not
of
on that
others.
song,
A
right?
couple of others, but not that one.
So.
And again, it's one of those McCartney gems that has just never been played live either. It's
Right.
Incredible.
Thank
Right.
you. Yes. Oh, exactly. 100%.
Right.
How much time do we have? I could go on for hours and hours about that. Oh my God.
Go ahead. Go.
I absolutely wish I would trade in my entire collection. No, I wouldn't go that far. But I would trade certain parts of my collection, put it that way,
Right.
to hear that live. I think even if he did it more of a rocking version or, did a different arrangement, even now, I'd love to hear it. Take it away. That's another song I've always thought.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
2 songs right there that you could
Oh
have
yeah,
in this
absolutely.
concert.
Right. Now, one other piece of what you call it, media that was released to coincide with the film was the video game. Have you seen that anywhere?
I tried playing it on the Commodore. I tried playing it.
And you've got it right there. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Yep. I played it on an emulator. Not the game.
I'm jealous. I've never played.
I played it on an emulator site. It's tough.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
That
that's
is awesome.
2002, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh man, I'm jealous again.
I
Jesus.
think that we kind of established the Broad Street credentials right there.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about some of the favorite sequences, because as we pointed out, the story itself is not weak. What are the highlights for you guys? Ed, let's start with you. Let's talk separate. Let's talk about Beatle highlights and solo McCartney highlight. What are some of the tracks that in the film that stand out for you?
Sure. Well, again, No More Lonely Nights. I'm guess well going a little bit solo. Sorry if I'm going a little bit backwards
Yeah.
and forwards here, jumping around the
Yeah.
timeline a little bit. In the film, we almost get an alternate video for it.
Mm.
I mean, just with that sequence as compared to the video that was released in the McCartney years,
Mm.
that was done for MTV, VH1,
Right.
etc.
Right.
Definitely. Wanderlust. I really enjoy that sequence. The whole in studio sequence where they're going through the
Ringo's
tracks.
fiddling with his sticks.
Yeah, exactly. He mysteriously, can't find them, and until the nick of time.
Right.
Let me think. What else here? I mean, just oh goodness. I'm just kind of. And I apologize. I'm just looking through the tracks a little bit. I mean, yesterday, Here, There, and Everywhere, kind of good. I basically like the sequence where he is in. Excuse me for a moment. A couple things dropped here. Live TV, but in that concert hall where he's kind of doing some of the songs as well. I think that's a really good little Beatles moment. Again, as I've said, Long and Winding Road, kind of a nice sequence. I like kind of the driving around London sequence. He's going near Tower Bridge. Having been there myself, that's kind of a fun little sequence to see. So yeah, I mean, I think some of the enjoyable sequences.
Okay. Andy?
The Old Justice Pub too.
Oh,
Sorry.
I love the Old Justice. He's on the Old Justice. All the ones that Ed mentioned. Ballroom dancing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ballroom dancing. That's awesome scene. Which is basically Paul just kind of he said as much that he was directing that, but he basically was talking about how when they would play in the early '60s, especially in Liverpool before they were really big, fights would just break out.
Right.
Fights would break out in these pubs. So, and that's what's he's kind of depicting that again in the ballroom scene. When the rockers come in and they start fighting and clearing house, and love that. I mean, but probably one of my favorite scenes though is the medley in the beginning with Here, There, and Everywhere yesterday into Wanderlust. I mean, that is just incredible. That again, the warehouse scene, Not Such a Bad Boy,
Right.
musically. I mean, but For No One, Eleanor Rigby, all those parts of that are just incredible. I must say that I think one of the ones I actually hate the most though is Silly Love Songs. I can't stand that scene. That one I love the whole thing, but that scene I really can't. The makeup and everything, I can't.
And then the dancer comes out and you
that
break
one
dancing a little bit.
That I can't. That one I can't deal with. I can't. But that's just me.
It's the makeup as well. The costumes and the makeup. I don't find very, cool or
kind of Stardust almost.
About 10 years too late. I mean, I know a lot of people think that the Eleanor's Dream sequence is too long. I think it's awesome. I think that's great. And do you like it or not really?
Eleanor's Dream, that's probably the one if I did have to go back and edit, I probably would.
You would shorten that a little bit?
I think so. I mean, Eleanor's Dream, that's kind of predating the Liverpool Oratorio by about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Nice classical piece and everything, but and I mean, I enjoy the Sherlock Holmes of Jeremy Brett that used to be broadcast on PBS. I mean, stuff like that I do enjoy, but I think that one I would have shortened, or maybe going back and looking at it a little bit, probably could have put another new song in there. Maybe that might be the weakest track in the weakest sequence for me. But
for the film,
exactly.
Because here you got Paul really getting into that classical. He's touched upon classical stuff previous to this, but here he is. He's really taking charge and doing the score for the film, for the soundtrack as well. So, and then who better than George Martin to help, lead the way for that. So, but Andy, you brought the Broad Street, not the Broad Street, but the ballroom dancing sequence. I think is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite. The whole Eleanor. So the song Eleanor's Dream. I mean, we talked about the sequence. What do you guys just think about the piece itself?
Love it.
I mean,
for guys as a musical piece, absolutely love it. 9 minutes goes like that. I think musically it's beautiful.
Okay, Ed.
Might have edited it down a little bit. I mean, it is a nice piece. Probably could have chopped off maybe a minute or so on that track. That's just kind of my take on it. I think that's for me. That's kind of the one slight stumbling block. It doesn't totally ruin anything for me, but yeah, it feels nice enough piece. Again, I probably about a minute or two. I might have shaved off of it a little bit.
Okay.
But still lovely. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's talk about nice pictures. Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean having a score like Ralph Richardson in your picture, your film just gives it a little bit more credibility. In
but
your
not
film.
that it needed it. That's my point. It didn't.
Right.
I don't think people need. I don't think he needed credibility. He's like, look, I'm making a film, and it's gonna be music. It's gonna be music heavy.
Yeah, but it helps to have an experienced actor like that.
Sure.
In a film, especially when you have Paul, who's acted so little. By that time, it's almost over 20 years of being in the business. You act a little bit. Obviously you got the Beatle movies, but he really didn't do anything like this.
No.
So to have someone in like that in the movie just for one scene, I think was probably a big help for Paul. I mean, even though the scene is lovely, though, I would admit.
Absolutely.
And then plus you get the background of what was the name of the song? You got "Goodnight Lonely Princess" playing in the background. For that scene, so that was nice. What other standouts for you guys? I mean, or let's how about this? Talk about Paul's performance in the film. I mean, what did you guys think about Paul himself in the film? Not counting any of this the music sequences, just him himself as an actor.
To me, it's Paul. It's Paul being Paul. So I don't think he's not acting because he's playing himself. So to me, it's just Macca. It's what it is. I don't view it as like somebody playing somebody. I'm watching Paul be Paul because that's what he's doing here in this film. So the mannerisms, the jokes and stuff. The dialogue, okay, maybe the dialogue is a little scripted, the tension between himself and the manager and stuff like that, maybe, to me, it's all very believable. Like it was kind of in a weird way, with the missing tapes plot aside, it's like a Hard Day's Night where they were just playing themselves. Linda's Linda, Ringo's Ringo, Paul's Paul. It's kind of like a modern Hard Day's Night.
Andy, you were reading my mind. That's kind of scary. But yeah, it was good. I was going to say a spiritual sequel to Hard Day's Night. So the on the same wavelength. Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think he does a good enough job. It's I don't know if I could add a lot more to that. Really, it's no.
One of the things I think that people like this film or gravitated towards it emotionally. Okay. It's like a couple of years after Lennon's died now, so the film has those Beatle qualities to it, which is like what warms our hearts, right? We watch it, we see Paul and Ringo, you see George Martin behind the desk, you see Jeff Emmerich. Those are all Beatle elements. Those are things that make us feel good, that we love, because it's like, that's what we gravitated towards this music in the first place. Paul's playing Wanderlust, the camera cuts back to George Martin sitting at the desk, nodding in approval. Like it's little things like that, which are like, that's glimpses of the magic, and you're seeing it.
Yeah, but don't you think he kind of like does too much with the past? In a way, maybe he relies a lot on those songs and those images of seeing George and Emmerich and Ringo, in there to maybe he knows that the script is weak, but let's bring in these guys in here, and maybe the film can grow just on the fact that those people are in the film.
That, or he just felt comfortable with them being there.
Right.
I don't think he brought them in thinking, oh, I'm going to have Jeff Emmerich and Ringo
recreate.
I'm going to have them come in to bolster a film that I'm not really sure about. I thought it was because you got to remember he's working with George Martin and Ringo a lot during this period anyway.
Right.
With Tug of War and Pipes of Peace, so it was kind of just a continuation of that timeline of production with the same people he was with during that time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I don't think it's relying, too much on the past. It is a lot of, a lot of comfort food, if lack of a better word.
Good point. Good point.
That's that's kind of it. But yeah, but I mean, even what you bring up with the album, with the album itself right here, again, I think it's the strongest of what I would call the George Martin trilogy. Tug of War, Pipes of Peace, Give My Regards to Broad Street.
Even though it's not a proper album, Ed.
Sorry, I'm blanking. I would put it Tug of War, Broad Street, then Pipes of Peace.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, because I was going to say that would be a pretty powerful statement right there. Hey, look, it's a #1 album. Hey, don't get me wrong, it went to #1 in the UK. Obviously, so it had its fans. I'm not going to deny that one bit. It only went to number 21 here in the States. But anyways, continue your thoughts.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like I said, I think that's it definitely, it comes, it's definitely in between Tug of War and Pipes of Peace. I'd probably rank the album somewhere along there. I think it's a very, just again very solid album. The film, yeah, again, I don't think not relying too much on the past. I think it's good to kind of see everybody again, especially after a very tragic event like John passing away. John being taken from us. That's
right. And again, it comes out. The movie was done really well before the release date of October of '84. They just delayed it to kind of give the projects Paul was working on a chance to breathe, namely Pipes of Peace. Pipes of Peace is October of '83. Broad Street's October of '84.
Well, filming started right after the
Tug of War.
Well, no, actually, the completion of the second batch of songs for Pipes of Peace. So filming, I think, started in late '82. Yeah. So the songs for Pipes of Peace would have been done and then released the following year.
Yeah. So I kind of view that period as just everybody was Eric Stewart, as we see in the scenes. Like he was with that. This was the same crew of people he was working with for a while that he felt comfortable with. And another aspect, I mean, the band that he has assembled for the warehouse scene is just incredible. Jody Lynn Scott on percussion. Dave Edmonds on guitar, Chris Spedding as well. It's just awesome. I mean, for Not Such a Bad Boy, I mean, just here's a little teaser. That's going to be one of my 101 songs, people. Don't know where, but it's going to be in there.
Well, let's talk about that warehouse scene because that band right there, because they did do the 3 songs in the warehouse scene, but the 2 rockers, No Values and Not Such a Bad Boy with that particular band, that would have been an amazing touring band right there. I mean, I don't know if he would have gone out with Ringo on drums, and who knows if he was in a good place at that point in time to do something like that. But yeah, what a band for McCartney to go live with, huh? Don't you think, Ed?
Take all of my money right now. I will. I'll hop in the DeLorean, grab my money, and go see that concert. Right. That is 100%. Yeah. I mean, Not Such a Bad Boy. Great song. No Values. I may be blanking on this for a moment, but I think No Values was the one where he was dreaming about the Rolling Stones, singing the song, and then going, well, wait a minute, no. So it's the second instance where he's dreamed a song, or at least publicly said he's dreamed about a song.
Right. Yeah. Right. And then you got the remake of So Bad on there, and this time you bring Eric Stewart in for his one performance in the film, looking pretty cool with the kind of like the airport, the Air Force jacket.
Yep.
But that was a good scene too. And again, I think a lot of people tend to like that version better than the Pipes of Peace version.
Yeah.
Andy, I think you're one of those people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I love both versions, but I mean that Broad Street version just slays.
Yeah, right. So the film itself, Andy, we didn't get to talk about when you first discovered the film.
Broad Street? Well, my introduction to it was the soundtrack album, of course, but probably would have saw it on Fox TV, Fox 5 New York, which I seem to remember. They just taping it and watching it with commercials and seeing it oh, it's finally going to be on. Back in the day, you had to pull out a TV guide and say, it's going to be on. We'll tape it. So that was probably my first exposure to it. And then I probably got it as a gift, as a VHS cassette at Christmas or so. Probably probably sometime in the mid 1990s. Right. So wore that thing out, incredibly. you know, and even then, I knew what I was watching was not going to be considered some all-time classic. I loved it for what it was.
Right.
Nothing more, nothing less.
So then, so if you were, you know, kind of like schooling a younger solo Beatles fan, what would you two guys say about to that person about this film to kind of like get them to watch it, or I mean, what would you guys, Ed, what would you say to a younger person who hasn't seen this movie yet, and how would you sell the film to them?
Okay, well, you know, I think I would just say, you know, it is worth your time. I think you're going to find, again, I'd probably go with the spiritual Beatles sequel, you know, to Hard Day's Night. I think that's kind of one of the selling points to me anyways. You know, with the film itself, I would just say, you know, I think you're gonna find some sequences you enjoy. I would definitely point out the warehouse sequence. You know, so he's got a really good, you know, band of musicians with him in the film itself. I think it helps if you definitely know some of the background with some of the more inside Beatles jokes. I think you're gonna get a lot of appreciation out of that. You know, it's a very solid McCartney performance at a time when there really wasn't a lot of live McCartney material.
No.
It's after 1976, so he's not touring with Wings. It's after 1979, after the Wings tour in the UK. You're not getting a lot of stuff. The next time he did something live would be Live Aid, 1985. So I think it's a good little time capsule of that time. I think those are some of the points I would say.
Andy, for you, what were some of the selling points that you would say?
I would tell a younger person, if you want to see Paul McCartney at his one of his peaks, musically, vocally, just singing, raw singing, power, emotion, playing. Remember, he's still playing the Rickenbacker here in a lot of these songs. Watch this film at his prowess. He's still on top of his game. On a Beatle level, still on a high Beatle level, singing, playing, arranging, songwriting, all those elements. I'd tell somebody, if you want to see Paul McCartney, you know, the Beatle, as good as a Beatle, watch this film, because his performances in here are of the Beatle quality. It's, to me, it's as good. His performances here are as good as any Beatles song, in my opinion. Silly Love Songs aside.
Fair enough. That is probably the dud of the film for me, as I've watched it, you know, probably like 5 or 6 times now in my life. What else can we talk about? The album as a whole. I mean, the film as a whole. You know, going back to that South Bank show where they talk about, you know, doing the. Well, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I love that South Bank documentary with Martin Bragg. I've watched it a million times, and I just love how the whole genesis of the whole film originated from a bass note on his guitar.
The
entire thing originated from a bass note riff on his guitar. You see him and George Martin and him hammering it out on the piano over and over and over again. The whole germ of the whole thing is based from just a little note, which I think is so cool.
Right. Go ahead,
Put
Ed.
that on the archives. Yeah, no, just
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I would hope that something like that makes it on an archive edition. If we do get Broad Street on an archive edition, because that was really very informative. Because, you know, they talked about how that bass part kind of like opened the film. You know, you hear that doo, doo, and then you get the, you know, the title sequence there, and I thought it was very good.
And they were maybe thinking of like calling the film No More Lonely Nights, but they called it Give My Regards to Broad Street instead, because even though No More Lonely Nights is the centerpiece of the whole film and the soundtrack, right? But they called it Give My Regards to Broad Street. Oh, just another random thought. I love the dream when he wakes up out of the dream, when he thinks he's poor and he's busking yesterday in the underground, right? And the guy throws him the change, you know, thinking that his empire's collapsed. The evening standards there, you know, McCartney music empire crumbles. You know, he's sitting there busking away there in the underground. It's just hysterical.
Let's talk about. Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Oh yeah, no. I was just gonna say, I think going back real quick, just revisiting the Silly Love Songs. Yeah, maybe the video, but I've always enjoyed just the bass line. It's
a good bass line.
Yeah.
But it's just, I I could listen to it, but that scene, watching it, is just that to me. If you want to really criticize the film, that's where it's like, why is that in here? Why is that in this? Why is that sequence in this film at all? Ballroom dancing, I could see. It's for a TV show, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The ballroom, like even all the other parts where he's playing the songs, okay, like For No One and Eleanor Rigby, he's doing radio promotional appearances for his album at the BBC. Now, so I get that. So, he's at a studio rehearsing those things, but like, randomly just getting dressed up like cats and singing, silly love songs. I don't know. It doesn't really work.
Yeah. I would say the other cringeworthy scene, though, too, is then the final scene, pretty much, where he discovers, the tapes. It's, he's singing No More Lonely Nights, and then, all of a sudden, then he's, kicking a door in, and then you discovering, where the tapes are, and that's how the movie ends. I just, that's always been a sore spot with me. Is no matter how much I might love the music and the performances in that film, the ending for me has always just been bleh,
Yeah. I agree, partner. It's but that's a minor thing. I mean, I think it's a work of art. I think it's a film and a soundtrack that should really be celebrated. Okay, he took a risk and did a film, got a lot of shit for it, unnecessarily, in my opinion, because people want to bill him up to be something that he's not, and he's a singer doing a music film, and it just burns my ass that people criticize it because they think it's supposed to be more than what it is. It's a music movie starring a Beatle. That's it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a movie with music videos with it. It's, for the most part, Ed, what are your final thoughts on the film? I mean, if you were to say give it a 1 out of 5, I think Roger Ebert gave it a 1 star. That's how much he did not like.
I would not go with it. It was either, I remember, either 1 or 1.5 or something like that. I am gonna say, what the heck? I'm gonna go with 3 stars. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
3 out of
5. 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I think very solid. I mean, no, as you said, it's not gonna be The Godfather. It's not gonna be
Citizen Kane.
It is the MTV music video era. That encapsulates
good point.
it right there.
I'd love to see if it does come out again, repackaged. Will there be any extra footage, like a director's cut, put in with more footage that was left off the cutting room floor? Big thing now. A lot of these movies are being recut.
Right.
Godfather 3 got redone. I just saw a commercial that Rocky 4 is coming out again with 40 more footage.
40 minutes of extra footage.
Which I can't. Rocky, I can't wait to see that. So,
I'm psyched actually.
Come on, man. Let's see more training in the snow. Come on, let's see that. Let's see. So if Broad Street, I would love to see if Broad Street got that same kind of treatment. Maybe there's another 30 minutes of footage. Maybe.
Well, not only that, but I'm a big fan of commentaries, so I would like to see some kind of commentary. If not from Paul, at least some kind of film historian come in and talk about the making of the film and the actors and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it would be great to hear Paul talk about it. Whether or not he now considers it something he enjoys talking about. It's one of those things where it got a lot of shit. So as we know, when he hears things get shit on, like press to play, he kind of ignores them. Ignores the project.
Almost 80 years old now. We're talking about a movie that is almost 40 years old.
Right.
You can't look at it now and say, okay, well, they thought it was. I would think at 80 he could now look at it and say, okay, this is what we did. Whereas 20 years ago he might have been too afraid to talk about it or whatever, acknowledge it. Come on, I think he could look back at it now and reflect on it positively. Look at it now as a piece of work with Linda in it,
right.
Jeff Emmerich and George and all these people that are sadly no longer with us.
True.
Yeah. It's that's, and I think you just thinking of Linda, that brings up a good point too, especially the whole Eleanor's dream sequence. That's kind of a little haunting part to watch now.
Sure.
Right.
In the clouds, as it were. Yeah, I think definitely a director's comment, well, maybe not director's commentary like you said, but something with Paul and Ringo would be fantastic.
Oh man.
Definitely, that would be great. Would it happen? I don't know. I mean, but
As much as even though I just said it would be nice, something tells me that he's just not going to revisit it, or if it gets put out in an archive, they're going to just put it out. I don't see him sitting down at 80 years old and going, "Well, we thought this. We thought this." I just don't see him doing that. I wish he would, but I don't think he will.
I mean, like we talked about, he gave us a lot of thoughts, his thought process during that South Bank show, which, like we said, it would make a great addition for the archive. And, get some snippets of that. You can, there's a lot of commentary that actually has interviews throughout the person's, lifetime in a way, and they just, Frankenstein that together for for a commentary. But it is what it is. But soundtrack. I mean, obviously, this is the one thing that gets the most praise of the two. I mean, like we said, it went to #1 in the UK. Vinyl or CD edition? Are you guys happy with the? I mean, obviously, we want more stuff. There's more stuff on the CD.
CD just for more, just because we get more material.
Right?
The vinyl is short, of course.
Right.
Yeah, CD edition. I could even recommend
CD for sure.
Yeah.
That's
the 93.
That's the 93.
Yeah.
The 84.
Right. This is the Columbia. Yeah, this is the Columbia one right here.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I've got the.
Of course, you don't get Goodnight Princess on vinyl.
Right.
Always loved the vinyl though. Vinyl was always well done. I always thought.
Gate sleeve.
Gate sleeve, gatefold, opened up nice.
Oh yeah, gatefold. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, give me 180 gram pressing of this, right?
Well, if they released an archive, we will get one.
Let's get one on blue vinyl to match the blue box, right?
Third man, there you go, third man.
Come on, third man, give us credit and send us promotional copies for free. Damn it, when you do it.
So which one of us is first in line?
I would say Ed. That's got to go to be Ed because Ed's the #1 Broad Street fan. I know this is always when it's shifting towards soundtrack now. I think it gets brought up a lot. We counted it as a canon album in our ranking of the tracks because Tom and I think, even though this is a compilation, I think it's a canon album. What do you think, Ed? Is it part of? Do you consider it part of the natural chronology of Paul's music?
100% yes. Funny enough, on my own channel, I haven't gotten to review this yet. I've just been bouncing around. I know. It's a funny thing. You would think I would go with my namesake up here.
Would have started with that.
I know. No, I started with McCartney 3. What do I know?
Right.
But no, it definitely is. When I go through reviewing all the solo releases, this is part of the canon, just like Run Devil Run. I think anything with, it does have 3 new tracks on it, so I definitely consider this as part of the canon, part of the overall arc of Paul's career. So, in short, 100%. 100% canon.
Oh, so you would consider like Run Devil Run and probably like that in the regular canon as well? Kisses on the Bottom, maybe?
Yeah, I think I both of those. I mean, all of those with some of the newer tracks, I definitely consider that as part of the canon. So as I go through chronologically or not, well, really not at this point, reviewing things, I think, it's definitely part of the canon, and I consider it part of the progression of his career.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So, anybody else want to add anything else before we?
No, I watched it a couple more times. No More Lonely Nights, I think, is got to be his last. That's his last, other than Spies Like Us, which I know was a top 10 hit.
Right.
But I think most fans would say No More Lonely Nights is his true last big hit. Just in terms of like commercials, I think was it for him. Man, it's just. I mean, I'm very curious to see where that song falls in your ranking, Thomas.
Yes, it'll be up there. It'll be up there.
Very curious to see where that is.
Right.
I probably watch Broad Street once a year. I mean, Ed, I don't know about you. probably once a year I throw it on because I mean it's on YouTube, right? So I could just throw it on, leave it on the background.
Right.
You know, Tom, you said
Quite,
you've seen
quite
it.
often, maybe not
Go
quite,
ahead.
quite once, often enough. A couple times a year.
You do. Tom, you said you've only seen it 5 or 6 times total.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. 5 or 6
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
a couple
We
times.
didn't ask you. You asked us the question. Let me ask you. Your first exposure to Broad Street as a film. When did you see it or aware of it?
Well, I was aware of it in '84. I remember seeing trailer for it. But other than that, didn't see it because I wouldn't say that I was like the big fan of like that era. At that time, it wasn't until like 4 years later where I became a fan. But then I knew of it, and it wasn't. I would say probably until early 2000s with the DVD release where I finally did then watch it. So
That's when you did first see it. Was around then.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
probably like that
And
2003, 2004, right around that era.
right, but I mean, you had known pretty much the genesis of the film and stuff, and
Well, I have known of it from older family members, and they would say it was, kind of almost a way of like a magical mystery tour where it's just, a film with like the music videos in it.
well, let me ask you another question because I knew the soundtrack album inside and out before I saw the
Right.
film because my dad had it.
Oh,
So
same
I
here. I had the cassette,
So I was going to ask you that. Did you
yeah.
know the music of the
Yes.
soundtrack well before the
Yes.
film? You
Well
did.
before.
That's what I thought,
Yeah. And I had also known that it kind of got shit on, by
Right.
critics, so that kind of kept me away from it as well. But yeah, I mean, I had the soundtrack as early as I think '89
Oh,
on
wow.
cassette. On
So
cassette.
you knew
Yeah.
the music well
Right.
before
Yeah.
you saw the film. And again,
Right.
unless you had a copy on VHS, you really
Right.
had no other way to see the film unless one of
Right.
your local affiliates was showing it. How
Right.
else were you going to, VHS tapes? I mean, I'm sure, Tom, you weren't running out to sort of buy a VHS copy of Give My
Not
Regards
at
to
that
Broad
point in
Street.
time. Well, I mean, at that time, VHSs were like $100.
They're a lot of money.
Yeah, they were a lot of money at that point in time. It wasn't until probably mid '90s where the prices
So
started.
to buy a real
To
VHS
buy,
tape for
yes.
20 or 30 bucks to buy it,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
other than that, you tape it. You tape it off the TV. That was all you
Right.
could do,
Right,
So
and that, and then or you had the laser discs.
Right, which
And then
still-
beta for a while. But other than that, I mean, I can only imagine how much, those laser discs and Betamax stuff cost at that point in time. I'm sure those are pretty expensive.
yeah, I'm sure. Beta. I don't even know if it was made on Betamax. It might have been past that time. I'm not sure.
Right, it might have been past that time, but I mean, I only knew a couple people that had a VCR at that point in time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a film that I could watch it once or twice a year easily, no problem. I enjoy it. I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it for everything that it is, because it represents, as Ed pointed out, a period of time for Paul where you weren't really seeing him live. So this was an opportunity to see him in a live, in doing performances in the '80s, which you just didn't see too often.
Right, and then they did talk about in that South Bank show where they, Paul wanted to do that music live during the filming.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is interesting, hearing him talk about wanting to do that live, which they just don't do. You really didn't do that at that point in time. So, but Ed, any other final thoughts on the film, and the CD?
Well, there is a beta copy. I probably have it somewhere in my, collection of stuff. Again, I just think, essential. Yes. Again, No More Lonely Nights alone for the soundtrack is worth the price of admission. Again, Not Such a Bad Boy and No Values. Again, at least those three tracks, along with it's an album's very well together film. It's enjoyable, especially if you're a McCartney fan. I think you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I don't think it deserves the reputation it may have gotten over the years.
Okay.
Spot on,
Fair enough. All right. Well, if you hadn't seen the film in a while, after you're done listening to this, go go ahead and check it out. Andy said you've seen it. It's on YouTube, right? You can check it
In
out on
full.
YouTube.
It's
Yeah.
it's on full on YouTube.
I'm sure you can go on eBay and find a VHS or a DVD copy of it if you want to, or your local used record store might have a copy or something like that. And then watch it and tell us what you think. If you want to go back and revisit it, if you haven't seen it in a long time, I would love to hear your guys' first initial thoughts on the film. Did it satisfy you in any way? Did you think it was just total shit? I mean, please give us your thoughts on the film. Ed, let's go back to your YouTube channel again. Tell everybody where you can find it, what's it called again, and all that good stuff.
Sure. Well, definitely. Well, you can find me at Call Me Mr. Broadstreet on YouTube. Appreciate all the subscriptions and all the folks that have followed along, and any future subscriptions. It's just appreciated. So thank you all. And thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, keep up the good work, brother. I love seeing those notifications pop up when you post a new review. So we're happy to have you, and as one of the first supporter of Two Legs, thank you for supporting. Thank you for supporting us.
Yeah, I especially want to give a thank you to Ed because during that shitty night in Vegas, Ed was one of the first people to contact me to see if I was doing okay. So Ed, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate you asking to make sure I was doing okay. So that really meant a lot to me.
I'm glad you said that.
You are a good man, Charlie Brown.
Thank you, buddy. But Andy, what are you doing? Yeah, you got it, buddy. Yeah.
As of this recording,
any last words?
Yeah, as of this recording, we will have aired our first episode of our ranking our top 101 Macca songs. So
Right.
that will have the first installment of that will be done, but there's 4 more of those to come. Still have to rank them yet. Well, the top 20 are done. I did the top 20 first.
Okay. Fair.
So yeah, that's coming along. Kudos to Tom for coming up with another live show for us to do and keep people engaged. Pumping out new content on our channel and monitoring that. So that's just about it.
Cool. As always, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Two Legs Podcast. You can email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. We've got the website, twolegspodcast.com, where you can go there and you can find all the stuff on YouTube and our Twitter account as well. You can find us there. Let's see here. What else here? Like Andy said, by the time you see this, our volume 1 of our 101 favorite McCartney song countdown will have been posted or aired and posted on YouTube. So that'll be a YouTube exclusive for a while. That may eventually find its way on the audio formats. Maybe after the ranking the track stuff is complete, maybe we'll stick that on there as well. But I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how Andy's going to rank some of these songs, and I'm still ranking them too, so I'm not completely done myself. But everybody out there, thank you very much. Thank you for everybody that's subscribing on the YouTube channel. So again, that's Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast on YouTube. So please check it out. That's where you're seeing our funny faces, or whatever you want, our good-looking faces. So everybody out there, as always, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care, everybody. Good to see you.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan